Hi, Brittany.
Hi.
I'm Rob with Arts Dune Tours. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
You too.
How are you?
You ready to go out and see some
I
dunes?
am.
All right, let's go. Let's be careful crossing the street.
After meeting with several locals, we make our way down Commercial Street to meet with Rob. He will carry us out on a dune tour that only Arts Dune Tours can provide. Rob, and he is the owner of Arts Dune Tours. Thank you for taking us out.
Sure, it's my pleasure.
This is so much fun, and we're learning a lot. So, can you give our viewers a history of the dunes here?
Yeah. Well, we're in an area that's about 4,000 acres large, and it's all sand dunes. I mean, some of our sand dunes right on the distance there are over 110 feet tall. And it was all formed by glaciers that formed the rest of the Cape, bringing all this sand up into a huge sand spit. So Provincetown at the very tip of the Cape is just a huge sand spit with all these sand dunes and beaches. That's why we have these beautiful hills of sand here. It's really incredible. So up here on the left, you see where these big hills are? That's where they filmed the Thomas Crown Affair, the original with Steve McQueen and Faye Dunaway. And my father actually helped film the movie out here with them. He met Steve and Faye, and my mom actually made Steve McQueen a coffee cake, and he liked it so much he asked for another one, so she ended up making 2 coffee cakes for him. So she had his autograph thanking her for the cakes and how delicious they were. That was that famous scene where they were driving in a dune buggy over the Cape, the big dunes and stuff. And the shack on the distance up there, that's the only one with deeded property. So his father came out, bought the land from the town, and proceeded to pour a cement foundation underneath that shack, which deemed him not a squatter. My dad started this in 1946, and he ran trips through here, and ever since then, 1946, so it's our 69th year this year. And we're still doing it, and I came home about 20 years ago. My father had Alzheimer's, to manage and take over the reign of the company, and we're now doing new and different things like clam bakes on the beach with fires and, you know, weddings and remembrance gatherings, and it's been really, really great to take on the legacy that he left me, you know. The best view, I would think that you can look anywhere and get a good view. I mean, just even behind us right over there, I mean, the different colors of vegetation with the shadowing of the dunes. Off in that area, you have the big sand dunes, you have the ocean behind me, so anywhere you look is a very scenic view. And that's why a lot of the artists, you know, come to Provincetown, because the lighting is very unique here because we're surrounded by the water. And we have the light reflecting off the sand dunes. And they even knew this way back in the late 1800s. That's when Charles Hawthorne started the Cape Cod School of Art, which is the first of its kind in the country, which makes us one of the oldest continuous art colonies in the United States.
That's interesting. So nobody's allowed to drive on this but you guys, correct?
In a sense, I mean, we're the last surviving dune tour company out of about 14 that have come and gone through the years. So currently we're the only commercial business in here, and dune shack dwellers are allowed to drive on the trails here, and park rangers. So there's really just a handful of people that are allowed to drive on the hills here. And we have a nice little fruit to the right here. You'll see the little plums on the right. They don't look like much now, they're the little berries, but they're famous in Cape Cod. They're beach plums, and they make a wonderful beach plum jelly. So in another 2 or 3 weeks, we'll be able to, you know, pass them out and pick some and pass them out for people to try. But the jelly's really, really good. Now the cement structure that we'll see up there, that's the old foundation of the old Peaked Hill Coast Guard Station, which was one of 13 life-saving stations built off Cape Cod's coast, and one of 3 off Provincetown's coast that were built when the government started the United States Life-Saving Service. And it was a national program that Congress enacted, but it was very strong in Cape Cod because of the very violent nor'easters and the many shipwrecks that happened on Cape Cod's coast. And those basically happen because of our treacherous sandbars that hug the coast, that peninsula. And you got to remember, Cape Cod Canal wasn't built till 1912. So prior to 1912, any ships going north and south had to go around the dangerous peninsula instead of through the safe passage of the canal. So look at this map here. Each one of these dots represents a station. And the one that's to the right there is right there. And this is just a small example of all the shipwrecks. So these sandbars are shifting and changing, and Cape Cod Canal wasn't built till 1912, so all these ships going north and south had to come around the peninsula. And then if they got caught on a sandbar, look what, some of these would just get pulverized by the pounding surf. So the United States government started the life-saving service, and they rescued people either by rowboats or by the breeches buoy technique, which was a very unique and successful technique of firing from a cannon a line out to the vessel, whereas they would send over what they called the breeches buoy apparatus, basically a buoy with a pair of canvas breeches sewn underneath. And then one at a time they would send it over above the dangerous surf, rescue everybody, getting in one at a time, and then the guys hoisting them into shore, back and forth, ship to shore. So this service became our Coast Guard service in 1915, and they used this until the early 50s. And even today, our Navy uses breeches buoy on the open sea to transport men and women from ship to ship. So it's fascinating how they used to, fire the cannon out, and this is the Coast Guard guys practicing this breeches buoy technique. But the life-saving boats were very effective as well, especially on shipwrecks that were further out, So there's the shack off in the distance where Tennessee Williams wrote, and Jack Kerouac and Hazel Hawthorne Warner. I'm sure there's a lot more people on that list. Yeah, Marlon Brando actually walked across the dunes to audition for his role in the production of Streetcar. He did that in the shack.
You guys have several different tours that you offer.
Yeah, we have a 1 hour trip. We have a 2 hour sunset tour, which is in basically the same area. And then you can add a clam bake or a barbecue to that sunset evening. So we basically set up chairs and you sit on the beach, watch the sunset, where here it looks like a West Coast sunset. And we serve a nice big clam bake meal or a barbecue meal. And we also offer packaging with a surf fishing tour where you go out, catch your fish on a private charter. You come back, bring it to me, I bring it to the restaurant, you do our sunset tour, and then the restaurant cooks the fish. That's brand new this year.
That's impressive.
Yeah, so we're working on combining packages with our Dune tour with other businesses so people get a well-rounded experience of Provincetown.
Cool. And you are located in Provincetown.
Yes.
How would people get in touch with you if they wanted to come out with it?
They can check us out on our website. We have one at artsdunetours.com. We have a Facebook page and an Instagram page and a Pinterest page. And we can call, you can call toll-free 1-800-894-1951.
That's cool. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
If you ever come down here, we would want you to come in and say, "How you doing?"
You said that to me on the phone earlier.
You caught it.
Holding back the laughter.
Yeah, it's a nice little pun that I thought of a couple years ago.
That's a good one. Well, thank you for taking us out.
Yeah, my pleasure.
And talking with us.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. So we're looking at my dad when he was with, this was taken in the 70s. It's a 71 International, and then, or 69 actually. And this is my father with Ted Williams and Kurt Gowdy. And they did a show out here on the Cape. And then over here we have the Black Hawk helicopter, which was the promotional helicopter that the Sikorsky aircraft did a promotional film out in the dunes with my dad, and that was a prototype to sell to the Army. And as we come down here, this is some of the older trucks that my dad had. We had the Jeep Willys, we had a 38 International. Back there we have a picture of the dune buggies with Steve McQueen at Faye Dunaway. Yeah. And this was my dad when he first started.